Thank you. All right, so without wasting much time, this is the Bianca Academy, where we like to bring you discussions surrounding our everyday living. We are academics, majority of us, but we are not limited to what we think academics is all about. We are trying to make sure that we are all rounded and well grounded in a little bit, of everything. We should have something to say wherever you are. Something comes up in whatever area, you should be able to contribute as little as you can, but give factual information. This is no longer a time where you stay and people are talking about something that is important and you don't have anything to say about it. No, it doesn't work that way anymore. So today we'll be looking at the impact of technology on national security. And our guest teacher for us today is a very unassuming man and a man who is worth his onions and ginger. His name is Olusegun Oladuntoye. I hope I am pronouncing your name correctly, sir. He is a security consultant with expertise in national security policy, security threat management, as well as arms control. He served in the Nigerian Army for 24 meritorious years. Yes, where he rose to command 29 battalion, amongst other strategic appointments. He was a recipient of the Chief of Army Staff Commendation Award for exceptional command of an infantry battalion in 2014. We are not bringing, the Bianca Academy and Lightbulb, we bring the best to us. He has officer combat experience, including operations in Sierra Leone, Liberia, Sudan, Bakassi Peninsula, and internal security operations in Plateau State. I won't even be able to read all of his citations. He is a certified port facility security officer. He holds a master's degree, among others, in defense and strategic studies from the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna. He also has a Master of Advanced Studies in International Security from the University of Geneva, Switzerland. He is an alumnus of the Geneva Center for Security Policy through its flagship Leadership in International Security course. He has attended a lot of studies, a lot of accolades. He has a lot of feathers in his cap. He has publications, he has research papers, so he is not new to the academic space. He has attended several trainings, even at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, Accra, Ghana, including Maritime Security and Transnational Organized Crime course. He participated in Geopolitics and Global Future Symposium in 2024. Please, without wasting much time, I need you all to join me virtually as I welcome our guest teacher, Olusegun Oladuntoye. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. You can go ahead and share your screen. You're a co-host. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me start by thanking Bianca Academy for the great privilege and honor to share my thoughts and impact of emerging technology on national security. The academic is a field I always want to be part of, and I enjoy. I always believe that knowledge is power. And if you must get power, you must pursue knowledge. So thank you very much. I'm Olusegun Oladuntoye. I've served my nation and I've disengaged. Now I'm into my private security, public resource person to some institutions, mostly Nigerian Army War College, Nigerian Army College of Logistics, and others. So this evening, let's go straight to the point. We're here. The topic before us, the impact of emerging technology on national security. Of course, like Dr. Bianca has said, at this point of our national life, I expect all Nigerians should be interested in that issue, security and national security. And in the course of my research, I discovered that actually the security is too wide, and daily I keep discovering how wide it is. And to some of us, that is why we believe that the trajectory, the development is a threat to our national security is basically from multidimensional areas. So let me start with a quote by one of the greatest military strategists in history, Alvin Clausewitz. He said, and I quote, "All military problems are political, all political problems are economic, and all economic problems are technological." This is a man that died around 1831. And my take is that as at that time, when so maybe we're around the first industrial revolution, and the man talk about technology. That means the technology will continue to have a profound impact on the way we talk, the way we speak, the way we live, and of course, as a soldier, the way we fight. And over the years, this is quote as actually be prominent in national policy, regional policy, and of course, international security policies. UK National Strategy for 2022 stated to power, I quote, power will increasingly be held by countries that have a strategic advantage in science and technology and have access to data that drives innovation, enabling them to exert influence over others in a way that best fits their own economic, political, and of course, security interests. So it's obvious that when a nation that seems to pursue its total freedom in sovereignty and national defense and security, economic security, must take a holistic interest, innovation in science and technology. Three forces have shaped global security landscape in the last few decades. The first is the threat emanating from the environment, and this has to do with things like climate change, and it affects nations' territorial understanding of state national security. Because when you look at, we are lucky that we are not in a country that is surrounded by water. For example, Kiribati and some highland country in the Asian Pacific. Some of these nations gradually are disappearing from the surface of the planet of the Earth, just because the global warming is causing melting of the ice, and there is excess volume of water that, of course, erasing their territory completely. The one we have here is overflowing in Lagos and some other part of Nigeria that states are very close to the coastline. Then the individual understanding of climate change is in terms of food insecurity and water scarcity. Of course, it is always an implied issue when there is flood in some area in Lagos, the Lake Ijera area. The people there have the challenges of drinking water. So then the planetary understanding in terms of the ecosystem and the rest of them. Then the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ebola virus, the COVID-19 pandemic a few years back, within a span of about 1 month. Latin America and some countries in Europe, Italy, and the rest of the. Fortunately, I was in Geneva that time on my course, and people died like a chicken without bullet wound. It was not a terrorist attack, but it was an health issue, and of course, that constitutes a threat to the national security of those countries in Europe and Latin America as at that time. Other emerging threats in the global commons are cyberspace, outer space, the ocean, and the high space. These 4 and 2 other domains that I did not include are areas that are within the jurisdiction of a nation state, once it is measured beyond a particular point. I may not be able to go into detail of that because of my time. And the last forces is the emerging technology, big data, Internet of a Thing, artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, and autonomous weapon system. So these 3 major forces combined together are shaping global defense and security issues, and they are having an overwhelming impact on national and regional and global security. So national security is no longer defined by standing of border, but ability of state and nation to navigate through these major forces, shaping global security landscape. Global risk landscape for year 2026 indicated that misinformation and disinformation, adverse outcome of artificial intelligence technology, cyber insecurity are among the first 10 risks to global security. Now, what is the connecting currency among these three misinformation and disinformation, adverse outcome of artificial intelligence, and cyber insecurity? You will discover that it is a connection between the threat emanating from 2 global commons, the cyberspace and the outer space. Detail of that will be in the subsequent discussions. Now, the scale, speed, and opportunity and development in the cyber and space domain and emerging technology are beyond any historical precedents. It's so fast, so moving at a scale unbelievable. The advent of digital technology in the late 20th century can be described as the 3rd industrial revolution, which consists of both hardware, computer, phone, data center, and the rest of them. Across this hardware are coded software, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and the rest of them. So the combination of the physical hardware and coded software are referred to digital technology, which is more of a cyberspace activities collectively together. Then the use of technology to enable great automation of human activities. Hold on, please.
We heard you clearly. It was just the slides that we didn't see.
Oh, okay, the slide you didn't see. Okay, now the 3 major forces. Threat emanating from the environment. I've mentioned climate change, and on territorial and national security, individual, a pandemic. Then the threat emanating from the global commons. Global commons are cyberspace, outer space, the ocean, and airspace. When this term is area, those common heritage of mankind that all nations have common access to from a particular segment of it. Then the emerging technology, big data, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, autonomous weapon system. So I said that these three forces are shaping global, regional, and national security landscapes. Then I showed the global risk index for year 2026 by World Economic Forum. And I mentioned that misinformation and disinformation, adverse outcome of artificial intelligence technologies, cyber insecurity constitute three emerging technology threats within the first 10 risks on the global landscape. And I think I've gotten to a point where I mentioned about skill speed of development in cyberspace and emerging technology beyond historical precedents. Then I've mentioned about advent of digital technology, which is cyberspace, which consists of hardware, computer, phone, microchip, data center, and the software component, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Those constitute the third industrial revolution. Slide 4 is on global risk landscape for 2026. I'm trying to use it to buttress my point in slide 3. The misinformation and disinformation, adverse outcome of artificial intelligence, and cyber insecurity constitute among the first, within the first 10 risks to global insecurity. In the cyberspace and emerging technology are beyond any story. One point I want to make clear is that there is difference between ICT technology that has to do with cyber and space domain and emerging technology. So there is a difference between the two. The only issue is that the ICT cyberspace domain serves as an enabler for the development of the artificial intelligence. So the advent of digital technology in the 20th century can be timed to be the third industrial revolution. I mentioned hardware, software, the combination of the two, slide 6 now, then the use of technology to enable the growth of human automation activities. That is where emerging technologies start from, which constitute the fourth industrial revolution. So the fourth industrial is regarded as biotechnology century, which we have now because we have the prevalence of a lot of emerging technology, like blockchain, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, drones, autonomous weapons, and big data. I'm on slide 8 now. Each technology has its own application, but the combination of the effect is what merits the label revolution. This means the third and the fourth revolution, that is the development in cyber and outer space and emerging technology, arrive in quick interlocking and integrated succession. So statecraft is becoming more dependent on technology, information, and normative element of power. On slide 9, my presentation on emerging technology and national security will be limited to the policy and strategy that relates to emerging technology in furtherance of national security objective. So the detailed technical technology is actually not area of my expertise. So I will analyze that within Nigeria national security landscape. I'm now on slide 10. The conceptual definition, my scope, nature of national security threat environment, Nigeria national security challenges spectrum, the role of cyber. Okay. The role of cyber and space domain and emerging technology in enhancing national security, implication of cyber domain and emerging technology on national security. Conceptual definition, emerging technology, rapidly evolving innovation that have the potential to severely destroy the way we work, we live, and the way we fight our daily life. Global common, space beyond national jurisdictions, like cyberspace, the outer space, the ocean, and the airspace. And the national security. I normally like the definition given by Richard Holman. He described national security. A threat to national security is an action or sequence of actions that one threaten drastically and over a relative span of time to degrade the quality of life for inhabitants of a state. And two, significantly narrow down the range of policy choices available to a government of a state. Now, what is the nature of the current national security threat environment? The interplay. The first is the interplay of geopolitical forces and its impact on national security. So on this, we have the interaction between history, geography, economic, and technology, and their relationship with political power. It has made many things ambiguous and uncertainty to hamper national security. If I may say that, if I may expand on that, no nation national security strategy take into cognizance the history and the geography. For example, when I say geography, I mean in terms of our landmass in Nigeria. We have about 805 kilometer shoreline along the coast. This shoreline is affected by climate change and encroaching into some part of, for example, some places around Lagos in the past before they reclaimed the ocean. But me personally, I'm not a climate expert. I believe that the ocean will come back one day because they have been driven by forces of nature. So geography is an economic has an impact on national security. And the changing context of security as the threat dynamic evolve. So we are having convergence of physical and cyber security threats and security responsibility within operational line of responsibility. This one will be explained when we get to other slides, please. Then hyper-connected infrastructure in the age of digital insecurity. Most of our city right now, Lagos, Abuja, there is this hyper-connected infrastructure network. Every network, sanitation, banking, water, everything is connected to power grid. As we are talking on the system now, I'm connected to my power in my room, and I'm sure every other person is connected. So if there is a cyber attack or malicious attack on the power installation, automatically it has a ripple effect on other infrastructure. So physical attack on the power grid, as shown on my slide, we have a ripple effect on healthcare, telecommunication, transport, sanitation, and power. State capacity and legal territory is eroding very fast. You can see the great cloud competition in cyber outer space domain, sovereignty, and battle for the soul of internet. For now, we are not a cyber power nation because we like the ability to project power in the space domain. So for diplomacy to exert influence, unlike cyber power nations like China, the US, who are at various different standpoints on the content of governance of global cyberspace. Most of the political power of the third and fourth revolution lies in the potential of their technology and application. And that this is where, when I explain further in the area, I might try to explain Nigerian national security challenges. This will be going to fall. Then, industrial revolution has transformed security threat confronted by political leaders. So we are now in an era characterized by volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, and digital. And this has stimulated debate about the best strategy to respond to the complex and complicated national security threats. And of course, this has left most nations with the option of either to realize their national political security opportunities or become victims of their national security situations. This last word cap up the nature of the national security threat environment. And I've said that with all this development in cyberspace, in the outer space, and emerging technology, and the interplay of geographical forces, technology, history. So it's not left for nations to think. It's not a matter of, America have this in their national security strategy. We must have it too. No. What is our own history? What is our own geography? What is our extent of projection of power in the cyberspace, in the outer space? And we aggregate all these points together and make our own policy. Otherwise, we become a victim of our national security situations. Nigerian national security challenges, chapter 3 spectrum. Chapter 3 of the 2019 national security strategy listed 17 threats to Nigerian national security. Terrorism, banditry, militancy, pastoralism and farmer classes, transnational organized crime, porous border, political threats, cyber crime and technological challenges, environment threats, public health, crude threat. 17 in number, but I highlighted only 2 in red: the cyber crime and technological challenge, and the fake news, and the hate speech. So the next slide, I try to do what I call the threat spectrum. I try to identify the threat drivers, the threat actors, and the threat domains. Yeah, I'm only feeling bad that you are not seeing my slide. This is the area.
You can see the slide now, sir.
You can see it now. Slide 17.
Yes.
Good. You can see that. You can see that on my left-hand side, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 threat drivers of our national security challenges. And that is why when I listen to people analyzing Nigerian security challenges, go and recruit more soldiers, recruit more police, bring the latest weapon. Have you actually analyzed our threat drivers? The threat from the environment, the governance deficit. If you Google Fragile State Index 2025 or 2026, it will give you 5 pillars and 12 indicators of global standard of governance. And if you categorize where Nigeria belongs to, and under each pillars, you will see all the components. I beg you as a Nigerian, Google it and go through it. You will see our picture there neat. And that is why, if you have articulated a policy that did not address this one aspect of global indices of governance. Probably we are missing the point. Because to give you 5 pillars and 12 indicators on what should be met. If you want to be be peaceful and you don't want any security challenges. Then I mentioned the regional security threats, Lake Basin, the Sahel region, and the Gulf of Guinea. Then I highlighted the threat coming from emerging technology and cyber and space. Now let's go to the right-hand corner, the middle corner. We have the threat actors. Our National Security Strategy 2019 mentioned 4 cyber threats: cyber crime, cyber conflict, cyber espionage, and cyber terrorism. But the National Cyber Security Policy and Strategy added election interference, online child abuse, and others to make 7. Now, the question is that the cyberspace, as it stands today, has no regulatory regime. You discover that among the domains, threat domains, airspace have an open sky treaty that regulated nations' behavior in the open and in the air. The ocean has the UNCLOS and the seabed treaty. This regulates the activities. The outer space treaty, even that is weak because there is this divergent view between the Western-led orientation led by US and China. Russia had their own thinking about what should be the norm. But cyberspace, that it has no, up to now, has no any regulatory regime. That means terrorists, terrorists, insurgent kidnappers have access to the cyberspace. They use it to recruit, to radicalize, to raise funds through Bitcoin cryptocurrency, which are emerging technologies. So these are the connections. And when you look at global cybersecurity index for Nigeria, we're on the third tier global power. That means our ability to project power in the cyberspace is limited. Remember, I mentioned the political power of a nation is dependent on its application of technology and is dependent on technology and application. The convergence of all the trade drivers and actors in the multi-domain environment. The domain of cyber and attack may have a weak regulatory regime, which heighten the risk that nature will pursue the national security interests at the expense of other ethical considerations. The threat actors such as terrorists and insurgents have grown significantly in the use of cyberspace domain and emerging technology. Boko Haram now use drones to carry out attack on military targets in the northeast, and of course, globally terrorists now use drones and autonomous weapon systems. Nigerian national security challenging, Nigeria criminal increasingly exploiting the cyberspace to attack several institutions, banks, school portals, government agencies, armed forces, INEC, ISAFA, and the rest of them, because these are not regulatory domains and it's free for everybody. Cyberspace is not a government control entity; it is private driven. And the control is difficult. Okay. The attack is stealing fund and financial institutions to embarrass government. In October 2020, NSA crisis fueled and coordinated through social media. Social media, I mean, cyberspace, and then, of course, emerging technology. NSA was mostly funded through cryptocurrency, which is an emerging technology under the blockchain to carry out their clandestine online. Then subversive impact of social media on national security. Mentioned that as Boko Haram and Israel recruit and finance and radicalize, and virtual currency by blockchain technology are enabler for money laundering, blackmail, and fraud, and used by terrorists to raise funds. Osama bin Laden was the first to use internet technology as far back in 1997 to propagate its ideology. And as Ayman Zawahiri said, and I quote, I said to you that we're in the battle, more than half of the battle is in the media. The media is propagated through the cyber. In this media battle, we are in the race for the heart and mind of our Ummah. So what are the roles of cyberspace domain and emerging technology in enhancing national security? I identified 4. The cyberspace domain, emerging technology are not isolated concepts, but are aided by cyber development in cyber domain. Positioning, navigation, and timing. For example, use satellite navigation system by both fighter plane and, of course, commercial plane. Communication, satellite in support of military operations, and other bankers, online banking, this use to the very large extent the space domain to carry out their activities. Then the 4 Ds, the stabilization, the malaria, discord, and discreditation. Surveillance and intelligence and information. We are now in the era of information because it's ubiquitous. You get it online, by radio, by channel, as things are happening. Yesterday, there was a plane crash in a plane that overran the runway in Benin, and within few seconds, it's already all over. So then biometric recognition system, the airport guardian of classified information, live facial recognition technique to track target behavior, criminals, and vulnerables. China use what we call China Golden Shed, that they use live facial recognition to track criminals and dissidents. Revolution in military affairs, command control, communication, intelligence, technological surrogate. Technological surrogate has to do with the drone. The drone, we're not in the era of drone warfare. You can see that the fight between US, Israel versus Iran, there was no boots on the ground, but through the use of drone and missile technology, both cruise, ballistic, and hypersonic missiles, there was a counter value target between Iran to Israel and other Arab Middle East countries that were, of course, hosting America bases. So all these are possible with the combined effect of the cyber and emerging technology. Protect national infrastructures. Then the last is quantum computing, huge calculation with enormous power to process large amount of data that can try, and it can, track encrypted system, improve accuracy of military operations. Role of the detail of the one I just mentioned is what is on the screen: surveillance and cyber domain. Let me quickly just go through it. Yeah, the one from the military slide 25, command control, communication, technological, surrogate, drone missile, autonomous weapon system, and enhanced military capabilities. Then the quantum computer has potential to enhance national security because of its rich calculation and enormous processing power. And it can track encrypted system, improve military accuracy. Now, what are the implications? Technology are dual-use goods. Dual-use goods are goods that have both pros and cons. One, it enhances our national security, but at the same time, it exposes us to threats from non-state actors, hostile nations, and foreign intelligence services. So the implication of emerging technology is the pace of technological pace as most nations' ability. Like I mentioned, the pace at which things are going in the cyber and space domain and emerging technology is actually beyond our own pace. So invariably, our sovereignty is more or less being eroded because we are just following other nations that are cyber powers, space powers, and emerging technology powers. So nations have equal reliance on cyberspace domain and emerging technology, but does not have the equal level of activities and technology to participate. So, which of course, control of the use of force, autonomous weapons, and drone, and the ethical consideration that involve autonomous weapons. They have been campaign that should not come into operation because it can just, with little or no human control, it can select a target and engage it. The militarization of weaponization of cyber and space domain, because it has become contested, and commercialized and among great powers. Continuous cyber space insecurity, it has become contested. Both space domain now, cyber is becoming government activities, non-state actors, the rest of them. Weak regulatory regime, I've mentioned that, like cyberspace has no any regulatory regime, global regulatory regime. We only rely on what they call Kali manual. They only prescribe the norms of behavior of nations in the cyberspace, but it did not include non-state actors, terrorists, bandits, kidnappers that equally have access to the cyberspace. Private entities now control vast amount of data, battle for the over customer data between bank and financial technology companies. We now have financial technology companies that are springing up, have no physical branch. Their branches is online, and once they access once you give some information to them and they key in, they have vast amount of data, information on you, your date of birth, and everything, the school you have attended. So these are becoming threats to privacy and, of course, national security. Defense companies that previously monopolized government contracts have been overshadowed by big technological companies. The threat to legitimacy and stability of nations, sovereignty eroded by the activities ongoing in the cyberspace and outer space domain, over reliance on private companies for military security and security. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that might be the end of my presentation. The references are shown on the screen. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. This is a well researched paper. I'm obliged. I'm very happy to even call it a paper. It is an academic paper, sir. Thank you so much. It is awesome. It has opened our eyes, my eyes, and I believe some other persons here would say the same. Our eyes have been opened to some things we do not even consider threats to our states, threats to ourselves. So thank you very, very much. So while you were giving us this impactful presentation, I have some questions from myself, and then some persons sent in questions to me, and I'll just read them out right now. So someone is asking, what is the biggest technology-driven security threats Nigeria is currently facing? What is the biggest technology-driven security threats Nigeria is? Yes, what is the biggest technology-driven security threat Nigeria is currently facing?
Okay.
Did you get that,
Hello.
sir?
Yeah, I get it. I can answer.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Oh, okay. I have mentioned about 7 or 8 emerging technology. This one is as much as possible related to security. Other emerging technology, when I went on research, so many emerging technologies related to agriculture, as related to medicine, as related to this. So, to me, a critical look at all these emerging technology. So, my own opinion, like I mentioned, I'm not a technology expert, but I've read about all these emerging technology. I think the blockchain technology that allow the cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and other online listing may likely be the biggest threat. And the reason is that they are vulnerable to cyber attacks. And if, for example, like one of my listings, I show you power grid connected to banking. So if, for example, the financial institution, God forbid, is attacked and brings the whole financial system to ground zero, what do you expect? The economy will stand still. And when the economy stands still, of course, other things will follow suit. Is it health? Is it security? Is it agriculture? So it will have that kind of very ripple effect. That is my opinion, based on my assessment and analysis. So the biggest thing is likely the threat coming from the infiltrator on cyber attack on blockchain technology.
Okay, so that is awesome. This person is asking, okay, this is probably a student, what practical cybersecurity habits should every Nigerian student adopt? What practical cybersecurity habits should every Nigerian student adopt?
Well, yeah, this basic cybersecurity. You have your password. You don't disclose your email email password to an outsiders. You go for cybersecurity awareness training. You keep your hardware, cyber hardware, like a laptop in the safe area. Those are the basics. That's as far as I equally know. Like I said, detailed technical on technology is not my area. It's a strategy and policy that guys it's my area of expertise. It's just that when you are talking about nations supposed to have its own national security, national cyber security policy that indicates what is their strategy, what is the governance, what is the cyber intelligence, cyber security and resilience at that level. But the basic one to a student, password or your laptop, is the safe, and those details. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have another question from Professor Daramola Messi. She's asking, under which category of threats can we say that the unsolicited adverts popping up on our screen whenever we are doing some things on our phones? Is it a threat when you are working on your phone or you are scrolling through Facebook? You have adverts popping up and you didn't even ask for them. Well, to the best of your knowledge, you didn't ask for them. What type of threat would you classify them?
Okay, now let me tell you one thing. All of us were in the biotechnological era, and we go online to do shopping, this and that. Do you know that all of us, there's the system studies you and knows your area of thinking. Like me, to be honest with you, I have so many this academia. They know my area of research. They keep sending to me because that means we are in an era that there is no 100% privacy has been eroded by this emerging threat in the cyberspace and of course emerging technology. So this is a time we have to come. I can tell you that those things, those adverts that are popping up must have studied your life pattern and bring things that they know that you have interest in. So it's a threat. It means that your ways of life is being studied. So I don't really know. That's not the fact about it. Everybody goes through it. I have a lot of material being sent to me based on they have known that I normally research in this week and they will send me documents on that.
Yes.
So it's a choice.
Study your legal footprints.
They study, once you Google in, they know that if you're, for example, if an academic, they maybe you want to do research, you want to do presentation, the system store it against you.
Yes.
And subsequently, they will send you,
That is true.
I'm sure Dr. So it is part of what we are saying, that because of this biotechnology area, privacy has actually been, our privacy is now in the hand of big technological companies that are creating the software for the cyber and this thing, and the emerging technology. They have all the information.
And then when you're doing something online and you see something about cookies, sometimes you just accept all cookies. You have accepted for them to invade your privacy.
Correct, yeah. Accept all cookies, you accept it. And you fail to realize that they have your name, your phone number, everything about you is already everything is there.
Yes.
So, but the first thing is, can we do without all these things?
It's not possible. We just have to keep on having conversations around it so that we will know how to better protect ourselves against the bad influence of it. So another question, she's saying that the Internet of Things is a witch. It is an algorithm which is studying your patterns and taking note of them. So Dr. Daniel is asking, in the case of the global commons, where cyberspace security is a threat, how does the nation ensure security when there is struggle for sovereignty and clash of interest? How does a nation ensure security when there is a struggle for sovereignty and clash of interest? You gave examples with companies like Russia or China, who will likely deny access to their cyberspaces.
No, every nation have access to the cyberspace, but the capacity to project political power in the cyberspace is dependent on that nation's level of technology and applications. Are you getting me? So as it stands today, cyberspace is a private-driven domain. It's a virtual domain. It didn't exist in the physical world. So it is a virtual. If it is virtual, it's private-driven. So there is little or no government controls over it. And right now we have two schools of argument on global governance of the internet. The US led, they are talking about multi-stakeholder engagement. That is, all those big technological companies that have a stake in the cyberspace that produce like Google, that produce software should be in charge of the global governance of the cyberspace. But Russia and China say no. They want a multinational. They want the nation to be involved in global governance of the cyberspace. So that is the stage we have now. And we are the third by global cybersecurity, then we are the third nations. That means we don't have the technology to project power in the cyberspace. We have as much as possible to study these two sides. And of course, be conscious of which side is winning in their argument or in their policies towards internet governance to ensure our Nigerian national security and sovereignty on the cyberspace. So to me, because we are third world countries, we are third cyber power nations, all we have to do is to improve on our technology and to continue to monitor which side of the device is actually winning the race. There's one article I read about a month ago. It said the national security of third world countries should be consistent on the great power competition in the cyber and hyperspace domain to know which side is winning, so that we are not caught up in the turbulence and the insecurity that will be the consequence of our wrong decision. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have so many questions. This is a very strong session. So, Professor Unit is asking, how do you think the recent passage of cyber law in Nigeria will help the situation? The recent passage of cyber law in Nigeria, how do you think it will help?
Every strategy and policy, I've not read it in detail. I've only have a national cybersecurity strategy and policy. We talk about it. So every policy and strategy to me, of course, I'm sure that the people that put the content will take cognizance. They will employ experts in the field of cybersecurity, and I mean no more than me in this field. And I believe that every strategy and policies of the government will go a long way to strengthen our national security through the cyber domain.
So how can citizens identify and avoid becoming victims of online propaganda? You know, you mentioned hate speech and fake
online
news.
Propaganda?
So how can we identify and avoid? Yes. How do we avoid becoming victims of online propaganda?
Probably let me tell you, and a few days back, someone called me, Minister of Finance of one country, want to invest in Nigeria, this, that, and he identified me. I followed him. I said, okay, later we'll talk. Immediately after talk, I buy the line. Just a warning signal that you may fall into cyber crime. So I'm now going online. There are a lot of fake news and propaganda that is being sent into the media. Cyber experts, they said they know the tools they normally use to know this is fake and this is real. Probably when we get the news, you cross-check with other sources. You have so many sources of information now. You have the online, the offline. So maybe you cross-check your facts. And then personally, I read more of newspaper and then anything I'm seeing online because it can be very deceiving. I don't take a whole line and single, and you know the information so that you don't misinform people.
Yeah, that is correct. So we cross-check with other sources.
No, cross-check with other sources. And again, I think from my own assessment, I think probably because there are some news I don't even bother to. Also, I turn to television. This politician slide this one. I go to the next channel. This information is no, to be honest, this information has no. It's not adding to my value. It's not adding to my intelligence. I have nothing to do. I move to the next. If I go to the next channel, they are analyzing Nigerian economics. This is good. There's a workshop ongoing, and this is what I want to listen to. This politician said this one yesterday. This one did not do what I want to do. I don't listen to such things. But some people take pride in all those things. Somebody stole money. Somebody did. No, I don't have to. Yes.
So, do you have any advice for young, researchers that are interested in security studies? Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, security studies is a very wide field, and let me tell you, the mistake most people used to make is somebody is a uniform person is automatically a security expert. I beg to differ. It does not necessarily make you a security expert. They only give you a platform. It is now there for you to realize that potential or to remain where you are. So security needs research. You must continuous research. You must go to school. You must go for courses. You must go for training. As I talked to you now, by September, I'll be in the Global Security Conference in Atlanta. From there, I'll be in Geneva for International Disarmament Law course of Geneva Center for Security Policy. So it's continuous and it's a continual endeavor. You must keep that. You must pursue knowledge.
Yeah. So, do you think that there are roles that academics and universities can play in preparing students for emerging security challenges? What role can academics and universities play?
Definitely. You see, I mentioned earlier on. Look, so when you read through some security write-ups in advanced countries, I used to feel very bad because anytime big presentation, I keep putting people, academics most especially in other countries, because here we believe that security is entirely military, police, public. But that is not the case. Look at the United States. In the past, we have the National Security Advisor, Condoleezza Rice. She's a lawyer. She was Secretary of State and later on National Security Advisor. Most of the National Security Advisor in the United States, in the UK, most of them are academics. Only very few are people that want the uniform of the country. So security is, you see, people mix military strategy. I used to tell people, you see, when you look at the national security strategy, it's talk about instrument of national power. Information, economic, military, and the rest of them. So now the subset of that document is what we call the national defense policy. We deal with the military aspect of the national security strategy. So the military, the national defense policy is deal with military strategy. Military strategy is predicted on the use of violence to remove visible threats from the state. So other aspect of the threat to national security is the economy. We just talk about hacking into banking now and a whole economic shutdown. Is it not a threat to national security? So it's a comprehensive thing. So you must have academics. To me, the next national security strategy, I advocate that academics must be involved, health experts must be involved, agriculturists must be involved. It's not a document that you bring some retired people, sit down. No. It is all encompassing. People died. I mentioned people died during the COVID-19 pandemic without a gunshot. Security has to do with human's life. So it is not only by bullet wound or kidnapping, terrorists, insurgent that is a threat. I've mentioned that threats come from the global commerce, threats come from the environment, climate change, and pandemic. So it's a whole capacity. A national security advisor must not necessarily be a retired general. He must not necessarily be a retired military man. A civil person with requisite qualification and training. We have seen it in other countries. It has worked. The present national security advisor in the US, he was never a uniform man. So that's even the national, the director of the national intelligence agencies. If I'm not mistaken, one young lady like that, about 39, 40 years old. So it's people have moved far ahead of us. We are talking of cyberspace, emerging technology. We are still talking of Boko Haram, kidnappers, and
that is the one that concerns us now.
Yeah, that's the one that concerns us. But if I'm when I give a lecture sometimes back, what are the remote? Because these are byproducts of failure somewhere. I mentioned what are the drivers to our national security challenges. I've mentioned the governance issue, and I said double the fragile state index. It will give you all the 5 pillars and the 12 indicators, and look at all these 5 pillars and 12 indicators. Situate it to our Nigerian environment. The picture will be so clear. You see, the moment we don't do a detailed analysis of our security challenges, we will just be treating the symptoms. You forget the root causes of the problem. And once the problem continues to be here, the drivers continue to be here. We continue to be in a vicious cycle. Thank you.
That is true. That is true. And as academics, we should keep telling our students how to protect themselves, just like you mentioned earlier regarding cybersecurity habits. So universities, academics, yes, talk about them, tell the students, protect yourself, do not believe everything you see online, and try not to accept every free thing that appears on your phone. And I think universities could even make their student affairs department, do some kind of awareness campaign, test these things at strategic locations in the school campus, so that students at every turn see that there is something called phishing, there is something called doxing, there is something called online abuse.
Ransomware,
malicious and all that. That is true. So, sir, the last one before we let you go, we're already just 14 minutes past time. We're truly enjoying this session. So the last thing is, if you had only one recommendation, just one recommendation for the Nigerian government to improve national security through technology, what would it be? If you had only one recommendation for the Nigerian government to improve national security through technology, what would the recommendation be, sir?
Well, it has to do with other authorities we have now, and has to do with the visible threats to the states, which is activities of terrorists, bandits, and kidnappers. I would advise and suggest that the government should invest heavily in intelligence and surveillance platforms. Because I believe that if our intelligence is sophisticated and our surveillance activities platform is highly sophisticated, there's a lot of embarrassing situations I believe we should not be happy to. Because I still find it difficult that 50-something students, pupils, will be kidnapped, put in a forest for almost 16 days before we're able to successfully rescue them. And I compare ourselves with other nations, Israel, and that happened to Israel. Within 30 minutes, they have discovered where they are.
That is true.
Within 30 minutes, they must have, how? Where will you take in Israel? Is that possible? So to me, if I have my way, how we get very intelligent and technologically driven platform in intelligence surveillance will be the priority.
That's great. That's great. Thank you so much, sir. It has been a wonderful time with you. I'm so glad that you came here to speak with us. I'm sure my partners at LifeBulb.study are happy with this, because this is a great one. So we don't want to keep you much longer. I would just want to ask someone in the audience, for Eunice, could you unmute yourself and just say one or two things to all of us, and thank our guest teacher so that we can let him go. We have spent 17 minutes past 8 o'clock. Madam Eunice? Yes.
Okay. It's a great honor to appreciate you, our guest speaker. I don't know the title, but all I can see is Olusegun. I've forgotten all the accolades that go with the name, but because there were so many. And actually, you have really handled the topic. It has been exciting. It has been wonderful. I have been engaged from the onset to the end. And on behalf of all of us in this platform, I say thank you so much. And I do hope that when next we invite you or the convener invites you for a similar presentation, you will honor the invitation again. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much. And as you are traveling for other programs in other countries, we wish you safe trip to and fro. And we want you to keep going and getting enough information for us so that you'll keep sharing them with us. Thank you for all you have done for our country, and thank you for what all you are still doing. So this is from me, the convener, the Bianca Academy, and my partners who provided this platform, Lightbulb.study. We say thank you so much, and God bless you. We appreciate your time, sir. Thank you very much. And to all of us, I don't want to say that I'm sorry that we kept you 19 minutes past 8 p.m. I don't even want to go. We just need to keep talking. But we really do have to go. So all the recordings and his slides will be available on the Bianca Academy latest 24 hours from now. So the link will also be shared to you all. If you have dropped your email address, you will get it. If we had your email address, you will still get it, and maybe on your WhatsApp platforms, wherever you got the link from. So we have another power-packed presentation next month, August. We are trying to make this a monthly thing. So next month, we are going to be talking about something that I'm sure you are going to love. So keep your eyes open for the flyer and the link from the Bianca Academy and Lightbulb.study. And until then, I will say thank you.